Why is it that we think that we need to control everything, that we need to try so hard to exert all of this pressure, to exert all of this effort in order for us to perfect the outcome of something? Because isn't it that the most beautiful things, the best things in life, the most profound, meaningful things in life happen best when we're not even trying, are much, much better when we're not trying to control them, when we're just letting them be. I mean, think about this for a second. You only love best when you're not even trying to love. When that love comes naturally to you, when you're not trying to force out that love, to feel that love towards someone, it comes in its best image. That love is in its best energy, has the best form, and it's conveyed in such a way, it's felt even in such a way. But rather, when you're trying to force, when you're trying to find ways, when you're trying to look within yourself and seek out different ways in order to feel love towards someone, that's not really conveyed as, it's not felt as true love. And so with that much more exerted effort, you're not really feeling the same level of love when it just comes naturally to you. And that is when you are in perfect alignment with loving that person, or with loving that thing, or with loving life. And so love has its best image in its best image when you're not even trying to love. Similarly, when you're not bound by all of these restraints, when you're not in fear of judgment, when you're just letting yourself be, when you pour your heart out, when you're spelling out your truth without any care and without fear of judgment, without fear of what this people are going to think, or what's going to happen when I say this, or how is it even going to come out, how is it going to sound to anyone, and you're just being your true self, it resonates much more with other people, and you're able to connect over that shared truth much more deeper than when you're trying to act in a certain way, when you're trying to force yourself to be in a specific way, when you're trying to be a specific someone and have a specific image, when you are in fear of judgment and fear of how you're going to look and what you're going to say. Or that date, when you let that date play out randomly, doesn't it become much more meaningful, much more beautiful, and it has this more interesting or exciting aspect to it? Similarly, when you're traveling, when you go on that trip spontaneously, isn't it much more exciting? Isn't it much more interesting? And it leaves a deeper impact on you, it leaves a more meaningful impact on you. It becomes a much more profound experience. So why is it that we think that we need to exert all of this much more effort in order for us to have a better experience at life? Why is it that we think that we need to control this and that to make sure the outcome is in its perfect state, that the outcome has a higher value? Why is it that we think that we are creating everything from our ego? I mean, and it's become much more and more evident to me the more I observed my life closely, the more I observed the experiences and the situations I'm put in, the more I became aware that the less effort I exert, the less control, the more detached I am from the outcome, from this experience, from the situation, the better it comes out, the better it turns out, the more beautiful it is. And this is evident in all ancient texts. You know, it's written, it's spoken over and over in ancient texts to let go of effort, to let go of control, to detach from the outcome. If you want to find success, if you want to find love, if you want to find meaning, if you want to find anything, if you want to find the truth, let go of the truth, let go of your seeking, let go of your need to put that much effort in order for it to have that beautiful value, in order for it to come beautifully, to turn out beautifully at the end. And even in modern concepts, in modern psychology, there is the paradox of choice, there is the paradox of overthinking and analysis paralysis, or paralysis by analysis. The paradox of choice, when you think so much about something, so you have so many different choices, and then when you have so many different choices, hypothetically you're meant to have a better rate or better chance at succeeding with that thing, but conversely you're actually more paralyzed, you actually tend to procrastinate and avoid it because you are overwhelmed by the sheer amount of those choices, by the quantity of those choices, and now you have more choices, so you don't know which one to choose, and now you are delaying the process, and now you have less chance at succeeding. Similarly, analysis paralysis, the more you analyze something, the more paralyzed you become to actually work upon it, the more paralyzed you become to actually seek it out, versus you rather just venturing into it with your true self, in true alignment with who you are, believing in it, believing in yourself, it turns out, just perfect. And so all of the texts, everything since ancient civilizations, they are telling us to let go of that effort, to let go of trying to impose control, of trying to control the outcome, of being so attached to the outcome, because it only makes it worse. And rather, success is found in less effort. There's a beautiful concept in Taoism since thousands of years ago. It's called Wu Wei, and I've always found this interesting. I've always found it beautiful, but then I'm always caught up in that hustle culture. We have to do this. You always have to strive for much better. You always have to aspire for that. You always have to, analyze your situation, and to have a better chance at actually making it through. You have to control the outcome, because if you're not in control of the outcome, anything bad could happen. Your risk is much more. There's this and there's that and there's always that. So always seek out, always continue to put effort, always continue, because that's how you're going to find your happiness. While in truth, we're only creating more suffering by doing this. Wu Wei is the concept of inaction. It's the effortless effort, which indicates that the less effort you put, the less action you put into something, it turns to be more successful. It turns to generate more success. And so because that translates into less caring, that translates into less control that it has over you. And what that could make is that when you're putting less effort, when you're in this effortless action, you're taking time for yourself to rest, to calm down. And in that, one step, one action could be worth 10 actions or 100 other steps, if you were coming from that perspective that you need to control it, that you need to put that effort, that you need to do this in order for it to come out, to have a good outcome. And so why do we think that we need to control? Where is this coming from? Why do we think that the more effort equals more success, more action, more striving equals more happiness, and more return, better return? This is coming from the ego. This is coming from our survival need, from our survival instinct. Think about this for a second. When our ancestors went out there to hunt, since prehistoric times or ancient times, and they thought that they need to control everything. They need to set traps, they need to cover carefully, they need to do this and that in order for them to find their rations of food, rations of survival. And they became so obsessed, and when they acted weirdly, and when everything was not measured perfectly, then it would mess up the whole thing, and they would not find their hunt, they would not eat for the day, or they would not drink for the day, and we got stuck in that loop. Now when it comes to more survival things, when it comes to things that has to do with survival, we think that when it comes much better when we are controlling it. Think about your job. We think that the more effort we put, the more we care, the more we overwhelm ourselves and we overthink through that position, the more success we're going to find, the higher we're going to get on that position in our job. And we're going to seem better, and we're going to be known as, over-indulgers. And then we're going to rise higher, quicker, or easier. And then the same things are with when you are faced by any survival concept, we think that we have to control it, we have to analyze it, we have to put all that much effort in order for us to have a better rate in it. But all that we are doing is that we're just creating more suffering, because the more you seek out something, the more you are controlled by this thing, the more you give the more you give your energy to that thing, the more control it has over you, and the more control it has over your well-being, over your nervous system, over your feelings, over your emotions. And so then you become in this roller coaster. You're just an imbalance of emotions, because one day it's good, one day it's bad, one day it's evil, one day it's sad, one day it's happy, and you're just being affected by this. And then you have less and less energy to actually put into that thing, and that's how you give away your energy, how you give away your control, by actually trying to take more control over something. So the more control you try to impose, the less control you have over that thing. And this is the beauty. This is actually beautiful rather than it being miserable. Because that means that you can just rest and calm down, and things are going to come to you. That the more you are in alignment with that thing, by just being yourself, by just being within yourself, by just knowing who you truly are, by just believing in yourself, the more things are going to align. You're going to align with things, and then those things are going to come to you without you trying to put that effort. But the thing is, we're still stuck in that hunting process. We're still stuck in that survival hunting. But what if even all of those survival concepts have much better outcome when we are not even trying to control them, when we're not going into them very measured and very careful? Think about that example of our ancestors going out for that hunt. What if they would just act normally? What if they would just walk casually among the predators in their environment? And they would not act perplexed, and they would not fear them, and they would not be in fear and in care and in feeling of risk and feeling threatened. The predator itself in turn would not feel the threat from our ancestors. They would not even consider them, they would not even perceive them as prey, because they're just coming to them, they're just naturally, casually walking among them. And so that would be a much better outcome. Similarly, the prey our ancestors were trying to hunt, if they're not being all of this suspicious, and they're trying to set traps, and they're trying to actually hunt them or run behind them or seek them out, and they're just randomly walking among them, they would think that they are friends, and the prey would go to our ancestors all from its willingly and naturally. And then it means that they don't have to put effort to either escape predators or to actually get prey. Similarly with your job, when you're not caring, when you're not overwhelming yourself, you have more space to be, you're more calm, you're more in your natural state, then you have more energy. You're not really caring, you have all of your energy condensed within you. You're not trying to, you're not giving away your energy by trying to have expectations, so many expectations and so very high standards from something. You have all of your energy condensed within you rather than giving out all of your energy to that thing by caring too much. Values, setting values and external things is literally giving out your energy. So if this is your bowl of energy, and you have value in this thing, and value in that person, and value in that thing, and value in this and that, in expectations, in getting that thing, those are all cords of energy that you're giving away, and then you're left with very less or no energy at all to actually create, to actually produce anything. And that's the paradox of effort. The more effort the more control we're trying to impose, the more effort we put into something, it reverses the outcome. It turns it against us. But the more you are in your natural self, the more you are in your natural state, now you have more energy. And so one action, one thought, one step could be worth 100 other thoughts, 100 other actions. And now you are creating from your energy source, and you're not reliant on your ego to create, which is matter creating matter versus energy creating matter. And I mentioned this several times in my other videos, which is concept by Joe Dispenza. When it's matter creating matter, then you have to try so hard, you have to put all of this effort, and your ego is stuck, overwhelmed, thinking that it has to create everything by itself. Versus when you are aware that once you are in your true self, once you are aligned with your true self, once you are in your natural state of being, the universe, all of the divine energies in existence will conspire in your favor. Your higher self, universe, source, God will assist you with whatever you are trying to do, with whatever you are creating into this life, because you chose to believe, to trust in who you are. You chose, and this belief and this trust, you are aligning. You are aligning with oneness. You are becoming more and more aware of your true self. And that means you have more connection to that energy. You have that connection to your infinite potential, to your infinite energy, to your higher self. And then it's energy creating matter. And when it's energy, something from higher dimensions creating something in a lower dimension, in this dimension, then it's done much easier. It's done magically. It's done miraculously. And you don't have to put all that effort. And so in your effortless effort, by just being in yourself, by just tuning into yourself, you are actually generating more success. You are actually generating more happiness, well-being, more love, more excitement, more interest in your journey of this life, in this life. When it's matter, when it's the ego stuck and overwhelmed, thinking that it has to do everything by itself, it has a less chance at actually succeeding. It struggles and it suffers because, your expectations, everything that you do you are assisted by your higher self. And so when you really detach from your higher self, when you detach from your truth, when you detach from the concept of effortless effort, that you are an infinite being who can just create things by being them, by thinking them, by feeling them, then you are this detaching from your higher self. You are detaching from your infinite potential, and you're just connecting with your ego. And then the ego feels it, and it knows that energy, all of that work of energy, that I have to do everything alone now. And this has become very evident to me the more I explored my life, the more I observed my life closely. I realized so deeply on so many levels that the more I try to get something, the more I expect something, the more I try to even visualize it, and all of these concepts on how to manifest, the more I think over it, the more I try to visualize it, the more I try to write it down and be in constant expectance of it, the less probable it is to happen. Because when you are truly intentionally creating something from beyond, it happens magically. It feels almost like a miracle. And so it comes from where you least expect it and how you least expect it. And so when you're trying so hard to do something, to have something, to get something, to gain something out of life, whether it's an emotion, it's a feeling, it's a physical thing, it's a material thing, it's a mental thing, it's love, it's an emotion, when you're so much stuck on it, very attached to it, then it's less likely to happen. Because you're not creating from source, you're not in real alignment, you're not truly believing it. I said this many times before, and I said it, and the example I gave in my other video about manifestation is, imagine anything that's very real in your life. Whether it's your job, whether it's your next meal, whether it's your, drinking your water. Do you actively think about it all the time? Do you feel as if this resistance, do you feel that you need to put that much effort? Do you need to work that so hard, that you need to control all of the aspects so hard, and all of the details, in order for the outcome to be as you wish it, in order for you to get that glass of water, in order for you to have that meal, in order for you to go to your job, to work your job, your day-to-day job? No, because you know them for a fact, because you are at that point in perfect alignment with them. They are the absolute truth to you. You know them for a fact, and you don't need to overthink them. You don't need to struggle over them. You don't need to create suffering over them. And that's the feeling you should have when you are trying to do something, when you are trying to create something. And this is absolute freedom. This is the essence of freedom, the freedom of not even trying, the freedom of attachment, the freedom from outcome. And this is when you are mostly free, when you are in perfect alignment with whatever you are trying, by just being present. And by being present, then you are just being. In presence, there's no attachment to the future, there's no attachment to the past, you're not regretful of the past, and you're not expecting anything out of the future. But the ego is always living in the past or in the future. It wants this to happen, and it feels bad about that happening. And so when you're detaching from those two different aspects, then you are detaching from your ego. And when you detach from your ego, then you're just being in presence. And that's when you are in alignment with when your highest good, with everything that you so deeply wish for, with better and better things to happen for you in life. And this is the freedom, this is the paradox of effort. The freedom of being bound by your efforts, by your hard work, by controlling all of those different aspects that's impossible to even control. Because you can't control anything, and you're only going to suffer more through that process rather than just letting it be, rather than just letting everything turn out as it's meant to be according to your alignment. So just work on your alignment, just feel your alignment, just align. Do not feel, do not create that resistance towards what you're trying to create. Be one with who you truly are, and everything is going to come to you. Everything is going to fall perfectly in place for you. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you so much for tuning in to another video by AF's Conscious Frequency. Don't forget to like and subscribe because it helps the video find its way to many more others who might actually need it.